So today we're going to do a bit of a food shop, but I'm going to approach it from a slightly different angle. What people don't necessarily think about is just the fact that, see, whenever they wait for a better time to diet or to put certain things into their life, they don't allow themselves to navigate the busy scale. The busy scale is kind of something that I like made up. I'll put a graphic or something on screen. But the busy scale in essence is the ability to make better, more informed, non-optimal decisions but are still aligned with your goal. So wherever you fall in the busyness scale in terms of barely sleeping to retired sleeping beauty. So it could be work, kids, you name it. We're going to go through options based on how busy you are in the shop. Unfortunately, I got chucked out the last shop that I went in, so we just got chucked out of the first supermarket. I've lost my cameraman, so I'm having to do this myself. I'm just going to stick it in the trolley and hopefully it works. I done this a few years ago in Aldi. I'm in Lidl now. A good one to go along with this video, if it's out yet, I'll link it somewhere around here. If not, I'll link it below, is how to build a food shop and actually meal prep for the week. So this is going to be when you're in the shop. I'm going to explain it in the shop. And if you want some free help with this, I've got a free 14-day course. You just stick your email below and you'll get a shopping list builder, free recipe book, calorie calculator, how to stop tracking your calories if you don't want to track your calories, and a whole load more. So I'll stick that down below. And for those that are new here, consider subscribing. Let's try Lidl. Also, if my voice isn't as enunciated, it's because I'm in public. So I might be speaking like this a little bit. Let's just see how it goes. I hate this. Everyone looks at you like you're a freak when you go into these places. What I do for content. So I was going to start with protein sources, right? But one thing that I've been really enjoying since I've been here is you can throw gnocchi into an air fryer with loads of veg, even some protein. Super easy. You literally just throw it into the air fryer like 15 minutes. It's obviously your carb source and it's nice and crispy. So I'll shove a recipe or something on screen so you can see it. So I'm at the protein bit just now. The one thing I would say is I don't really buy a lot of fish, but I probably should, mainly just because it smells. But I'll go on to the burgers and stuff in a second. But see, a really good kind of lower calorie thing that adds a lot of flavour would be wafer thin chorizo. You throw it in, and because it's wafer thin, it's low calorie. Chorizo is not low calorie, but it's very portion controlled, and you just throw it into a pan just for a few seconds. I throw it in a lot of my wraps. I'll maybe even throw it in the end of pastas and things like that as well. And you just get the long sausage of it. You're going to be a hell of a lot more calories. So just a tip. We're going to start off with the protein sources that are convenient. So we're at the meat bit. One thing I can't really tell here is how fatty this stuff is, but whenever you go and you try and get stuff that's lean, especially in the UK, it's pretty easy. Usually it's like 5% or something like that. I just usually go with the colour here. If it's a lot redder, then it means that there's a lot less fat in it. Obviously that's for the beef mince, but this is really, really easy. Even like things like my taco recipes, where you can prep the protein source. I call it protein to plate. You prep the protein source, and then you can make my taco mac. You can throw it into like a salad for like a naked burrito bowl. You could have it in a burrito. There's loads of different stuff that you can do with that. Whoa, nightmare. Oh my god. Well, someone else will need to deal with that. So one thing that I've been really enjoying here, right, because you can't get the heck chicken sausages here, but I found these chicken meatballs. So see things like chicken sausages, chicken burgers, turkey burgers, even just lean beef burgers. They're really good. And when I talk about the busyness scale, the main reason is because, see, when you start to look at things from that perspective, you need to take the path of least resistance. So the path of least resistance really just means that if I was to get home from a busy day at work, or I'm rushing about, or I'm just knackered, those who have kids or busy jobs will know exactly what I mean, but you're not going to take the chicken, even if you have the best of intentions, out of the packet, put it onto the chopping boards, chop it up, take all the rubbish bits off, throw it in the bin, because it's going to take a lot more effort. Whereas things like this, you can throw it into the air fryer. You can just throw it into the pan with some fry light, add in your veg, your sauces, whatever you want, and it doesn't take a lot of washing up. Some people call it lazy, I call it realistic. So yeah, burgers are definitely a go-to for me as well. I still do buy raw, like chicken breasts and things. I would definitely, if you're dieting, if you're not dieting and you're trying to gain weight, maybe go for the fattier meats. If you're not and you're trying to lose weight, I would definitely go for the meats that are like chicken breast, lean beef, all that sort of stuff makes such a massive difference, just in terms of calories, so you can spend it elsewhere. You do need fat for like hormones, but people tend to get it anyway, just in general from their diet, unless they're really trying to avoid it. You don't need to go low fat everything. Some stuff is literally just worth it. Maybe there's a higher fat sauce that you really like, and other stuff tastes like garbage. So it's all about how worth it is for you as well in terms of the calories. I think like wafer thin chicken and wafer thin meats get a bad rap. I understand why, because they're highly processed. But again, it's all based on how much of them you have, and also just in general how much time you have to commit to something. If you want to stay away from these, I would do something like what I'm about to show you, is buy a big, huge cut of meat or a load of chicken breast and throw it in the slow cooker. You can season it, or you can even throw in some barbecue sauce with it, and you can end up with like pulled pork type thing, pulled chicken. My Nando's chicken meal prep as well. Like, cook the protein source in bulk, and then you've got it for sandwiches. You can throw it in with rice, you can put it into a wrap. There's so many different options that you can do there. I would definitely say the whole protein to plate thing is get the protein right first of all, and then build your meal around that. It makes such a difference. But if you're not wanting to buy kind of wafer thin stuff or pre-cooked stuff because of that, then that's your other option. Even if you do want to buy stuff, maybe go for the chicken breast that's already cooked in whole and then chop that up yourself. But again, this is all based on like being realistic with it and what you can usually stick to, and then start to go healthier and healthier and healthier as you go. Like, you don't want to go full hog healthy if you're really unhealthy right now, and then end up undoing all your progress because you can't stick to it for longer than a couple of days. Cheese is something that I tolerate in doses. I don't tolerate, I would say I'm slightly lactose intolerant, but I can't have Big Balls ice cream and be alright. So I tend to kind of just manage it. It's more like toppings, or I'll put it a wee bit in wraps and I'm fine. To see these like protein puddings and stuff, right? Like, everything's like high protein, high protein, high protein. Like, there's nothing wrong with having these at all. Like, if anything, if you can stomach them and you're fine with them, it actually is pretty good for getting in a wee source of protein as a snack. They shouldn't be your sole source of protein. That should come predominantly from your meats and your eggs and stuff like that. So definitely make sure that whenever you're trying to hit your protein goal, you're not just relying on these in supplements, but they're absolutely fine as a supplement to add on to try and hit that protein target, especially when you're out and about and for convenience, or if you're taking it to work. I think they've got it here, maybe. If not, Baby Bells are a really good one as well. Baby Bells, Baby Bell Lights. A few of them would add up to some protein bars. Like, 3 of them's like 150-ish calories, 15 grams of protein, and fill you up a lot more than a protein bar, and probably taste a bit better as well. Again, cheese is something that, depending on how much of you have of it, you can go for the lower fat option, or you can just go for the normal option, but you will save some calories going for the lower fat option. Let's see what's around here. Right, let's go. So, some light Philadelphia. I'm surprised they have that here. But some light Philadelphia is really good to shove in pastas. The macaroni, I've got so many macaronis. I've got like Nando's mac and cheese that are like creamier pastas. Throw in that with some chicken stock. It makes such a difference to having a creamy pasta without actually adding cream. So highly recommend this for a lot of things. Low calorie, high protein, definitely makes a big difference if you do enjoy like a pasta rather than try to avoid it the whole time. One thing I learned is you can't forget a habit, you can only replace it. So it's about swapping the stuff out versus doing anything major in terms of overhauling your whole diet overnight. It's about, right, what do I currently enjoy? What would I have if calories weren't a thing? And then swapping that out. And if, as I say, I think I maybe said it at the start, but if you want a shopping list builder, I've got like how to stock your fridge, how to stock your cupboards and everything else down below. You can go and get it through the 14-day course. It will give you that resource, as well as my top 15 recipes. So you can just go pop your email below, it'll give you a calorie calculator and stuff as well. What's next? I do really enjoy these protein puddings for a pudding, but I wouldn't Oh, they're mousses. I'm not a massive fan of the mousses. I just wouldn't go over the top with them, is all I would say. Right, what's next? I think we'll go veg, fat, then carbs. So we'll go fat, because fat's kind of here. Because believe it or not, nuts are really not high in protein. A lot of people think that they're high in protein, but they're absolutely not. So if you're having them as a snack, I probably wouldn't advise it. You can put it in things like salads, like they are filling because they're high in fat and they're perfectly healthy. It's just a case of like they're very easy to overconsume. So if you're on restrictive or lower calories, I really wouldn't recommend them unless you can control it. And that's going to be the key thing, is actually being able to control what it is that you're having. And just because you're eating healthy doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to stay in a deficit. And just for reference, I don't track my calories, but it's because I did for years, and now I just follow a bit of a framework. And again, that's through the thing below. I'm trying to see what else there is. So next up is veg. Veg is something that realistically is going to be your saving grace to what I've never trained a client who's successfully long-term lost weight and not eating veg. You don't have to, even if you're a fussy eater, there's ways around it. I used to say, grow up, right? I do have an element of that still in my brain, because if you do want to do this, you will have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, but there's so many different ways to do it. My favourite things are really just shoving them in the air fryer. So like things like peppers, a lot of the like tender stem broccoli, baby corn. Hopefully you can't hear this music. Tender stem broccoli, baby corn, there we go, asparagus, really good one for shoving in the air fryer, dead easy. These like green beans, these are really good with like shove a little bit of water in a pan and some parmesan, and they're really good. Things like broccoli and cauliflower. I've got a broccoli pasta, a creamy pasta that's really good. But broccoli and cauliflower are definitely, they're not, like broccoli's got a bit more taste than cauliflower, but they'll bulk up your meals, because the biggest thing that people struggle with eventually is hunger. So when they're hungry on a diet, you're kind of fighting a bit of a losing battle. So I tend to put these in things that are higher calories, like pastas and things, to bulk them up, or I'll even have them on the side, because I can promise you that the dessert that you have after your meal won't be as big or as craving. You won't be as craving it as much because you're full, right? So it's all about minimizing your hunger. So you've got your hunger hormone, without boring you, get hunger hormone ghrelin, so keep that at bay. You need to fill your stomach up. You need to eat more, but be smart about it. Not eat less when you're dieting. Less calories, sure, right, but it's seasonings and sauces. So they don't have any here, but I managed to find some in Iceland, the Nando's Pyrenees, which I love. But if you've got a sauce in particular that you really enjoy, it's all about trying to manage what it is that how much it is that you have of it. So you can use my S technique if you don't want to go for the lower calorie options, or you just genuinely go for the lower calorie options if you think they're okay. So again, this is about making sure you figure out what's worth it for you and what isn't. So don't stay away from sauces and then feel as if your diet's bland. And speaking of bland, definitely make sure that you're seasoning the stuff, right? There's a basic amount of seasons that I think everyone should have, things like paprika, onion granules, garlic granules, that sort of thing, because like chili powders, curry powders, like all that sort of stuff, again, that's in the shopping guide below. And if you have these things, you tend to do okay with your diet, because they're in a lot of my meals, a lot of my recipes, and I've got by with them for years. I don't have a vast array of mad seasonings. What's next? We'll get some cauliflower, some sweet corn. And also just a note on salad, I don't think I actually covered salad. Salad's something that is actually pretty good if done right, but a lot of people do it wrong, because it just looks like a wee couple of leaves and a tomato and a cucumber on the side of their plate. And I used to be that person and think I was being healthy because I was eating a salad. See if you get a wee bit of sauce and you mix it in with some light mayo and you mix everything through, you have a lot of texture in there, even some, I know you might think I'm weird, raisins, apples and stuff work really well in a salad. And when you have these things and you chop them up really finely and you mix it all through alongside your meat, it makes so much of a difference to your diet. You can even throw in a few croutons for some crunch as well into your salad. Like, I've got a few options, but just allow the flavour to actually be the thing that you're focusing on, not just limiting the calories, because the flavour is going to be the thing that's going to give you the kind of longevity of your diet. Again, brioche buns. This one's a bit higher. This one's 300 calories. I don't know why, because this one is less than 200 and it seems bigger. This is not a brioche bun, but it's just a burger bun. But brioche buns tend to be anywhere between 150 to 200 calories, which for me, I would rather a brioche bun and a burger, and then I would have like air fried veg, whether that's carrots, asparagus, that sort of stuff. I'll put a couple of options on screen so you can see. But this allows me to feel as if I'm having a burger and I'm not then having my fries on the side and everything else. There's nothing wrong with potatoes either. Like potatoes in the air fryer are absolutely fine too. But it's just, if you're wanting to figure out what's worth it for you, sometimes a burger bun might be where that carb source comes from in the meal itself. Again, bread is something that there's they don't have it here, but there's a bread there's one that's like a kind of Weight Watchers type bread that you get back at home, and it's literally like fresh air. It's so tasteless. So I wouldn't avoid bread altogether, obviously, unless you're like gluten intolerant or whatever. But I have bread nearly every day, and I don't have any issues with it at all. So definitely it's just about the amount that you have of it, and just making sure that maybe you're having it to dip in some soup, or you're having it to... It's one thing that I didn't really mention actually was when I was talking about veg, was soup. So soup is definitely something that you can have to help the kind of food volume when something's water dense. It really keeps the hunger at bay massively. That's the same thing when it comes to like any fruit. We've just covered veg, so like any fruit, like literally just go to town on fruit, mix it with yogurt, have as much fruit as you want, really. Like at the end of the day, I've never had a client that's eaten too much fruit and not lost weight. Again, go with your hunger versus anything else. So if you enjoy fruit, go for it, but again, figure out where you're at in the convenience or the busyness scale. So you've got something like, I really enjoy like a watermelon or any sorts of melon, because melon's obviously water dense and it's really, really tasty. I shove that in the fridge and then I'll just snack on that when I'm getting a bit peckish, so that I'm not snacking on sweets. But one thing I would say is that, again, having to like chop that up, and pineapple and that sort of stuff makes it harder to stick to a diet, because if you're really busy, you're probably not going to do it unless you do it on a Sunday. So again, you need to use a bit of self-awareness to figure out what fruit you're going to get, because you might go for apples, you might go for bananas, berries, that sort of stuff, because you don't necessarily need to do much with them. You can just eat them without doing any preparation.
Excuse me. Can I?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Be careful of when things mention about being like high protein. Actually just check how much protein's in them. Really, if something says high protein, it should be about like 1 gram per 10 calories. So for instance, you should be like, say it was 200 calories, it should be about 20 grams of protein at least. So if something's actually high in protein and it's something like a protein bar, it should be around that. If not, it's probably not that high in protein. I got a bit distracted there. Wraps is probably the last one. I have wraps all the time. Quesadillas are some of my favourite stuff to have it probably most mornings. So definitely go for a wrap. Even just pick the wrap. In terms of calories, you're really wanting one that's under 200, I would say. But get the biggest one you can for under 200. It makes a big difference, because some wraps can go like really, really high. Right, we're in the sweet aisle. So this is something that, like, see, like when I showed you the protein yogurts. The protein yogurts obviously aren't going to necessarily always fix that sweet tooth craving, but they will do a good job, and I'll show you some stuff in the dessert bit later on for people that do have a sweet tooth. But what I would say is that, like, things like chocolate, you need to figure out if it's a trigger food or if it's not a trigger food for you, right? So for instance, this Milka bar Oreo brownie, if I just opened that, am I going to have just one slice? Probably not. I'll end up having half the bar, which total is probably about 350 calories or so. Whereas if I just broke up a couple of bits of that, and it's called food pairing, I broke up a couple of bits of that and I had it with some fruit, or I threw it into a yogurt with some fruit, then I'm still getting the taste of it, but I'm reducing the calories massively. I'm not then hungry because I've actually had something of high volume, high protein, and I'm adding to the overall protein goal as well. So just one thing just to be aware of with that, like the stuff needs to be, you need to be smart with the things that you're doing in terms of like snack, and nothing should be off limits. It's the volume of stuff that you have, and if something's a trigger food, then either food pair it or replace it and swap it with something else. Another thing would be, I don't see them here, like chocolate covered rice cakes. Again, like if you enjoy that stuff, I do, I actually do enjoy it. If you enjoy that stuff, then have it. See if you don't enjoy it, like don't have it. Literally, you should enjoy the majority of stuff you eat. It might be a 7 out of 10, not a 10 out of 10, and that's the sacrifice you need to make. Don't make stuff. Alcohol, that's really like a separate video, really. I've not filmed it yet, but if it's out by the time you're watching this, I'll link it somewhere above this video or below this video. And it's definitely something that you can fit into your diet, but there's a lot that goes into it. Generally, just think like Lidl and Aldi, like the middle sections are just full of like crap, but it's all crap that you're like, I definitely want that. Like I've got about 15 Dobble things, but there's a part of me that just wants to buy this for Rosie. What's next? We'll go to the frozen section. So frozen fruit, again, really good. Shove that in the microwave. If you want to then throw it in the yogurt in the morning, if you've got no time, some Biscoff biscuits, really good for just like really quick, easy, high protein. Also like frozen veg, things like peas, peppers, onions, again for level of convenience. Believe it or not, like see stuff that's tinned and frozen, they're actually technically better for you because they're captured in their essence of like ripeness or level of nutrient value versus allowing it to sit on the shelves and then they have to put a bunch of like preservatives and stuff on it. So a lot of the stuff that's frozen, that's veg or fruit, tends to actually be higher nutrient value. Just a tip for you, but I don't really necessarily care too much about that. It's more about the level of convenience. So we've got ice lollies. I've not really found any here that I like, but maybe I'll try this one. They were a bit soggy when I got them back last time, but I've literally eaten one of these most nights for years because I've got a sweet tooth. I don't know, like I've got a few different recipes like my apple crumble or the s'mores or whatever. But sometimes you just don't want to even put in any effort to it. Like this is like hopefully under 200 calories, 285, right? So it's a bit higher, but like you'll find ones in like the co-op and stuff back home that are like less than 200 calories, and I would then have that in the evening. So I'd fill myself up with my meal and then I'm satisfying a craving because for some reason growing up, like I've definitely got that level of sweet tooth that after my meal I want something sweet. So if you're anything like me, definitely things like ice lollies, like Soleros or Calipos and things like that, they tend to be up like under 100 calories. So we'd highly recommend them if you've got a sweet tooth in the evening especially, or even during the day if it's summertime. It's funny how much I've like changed my tone in terms of like not everything needs to be low calorie, right? But it's just about making these like smarter decisions that aren't like going to absolutely throw you off. Every time you diet, you're like thinking you're on some sort of like training camp, you know? Sorry, right? So oil in general, right? Imagine trying to control the calories of this and the calories of this. It's the exact same thing, right? So, okay, the fry light stuff's a little bit different, a little bit more processed, right? This is just olive oil. And believe it or not, like, see pear spray, this is 2 calories. You know, the 1 cal spray stuff that everyone bangs on about, right? This is 2 calories and this is actual olive oil. Whereas trying to control this, unless your recipe asks for it, you're just adding extra calories for no real reason. So again, if you're trying to lose weight, try and just be smart about it. So definitely a big one is just make sure that you get some like fry light or 1 cal spray and go for stuff that's just like the actual olive oil, and it'll be 2 cal spray. I worked it out. So lastly, I think we're on, not on nappies, I'll get them after. I actually need to do my food shop after this. Lastly, we're on drinks. So the kind of rule of thumb to people is try not to drink your calories. Obviously, you can have things like protein shakes and stuff, right? But in general, I would try and stay away from and swap out the the kind of high sugar stuff, because you're kind of wasting your calories when you're on a limited amount of calories. If you're dieting, you're going to find it quite hard to control your hunger for the best of times. So you're kind of wasting it on stuff that's not going to fill you up. So I would definitely say, like, swap your Coke for Coke Zero, swap your all of these things for the lower calorie options. Get a nice diluting juice that you like, or squash or whatever you call it from where you are. Makes a big difference just in terms of like a bit of flavour. Obviously try and drink loads of water, but if you're someone who's quite fussy, then throw it in with some flavour as well. I think that might be me, and I've managed to do alright, and someone saw me, so no one's saying anything. Last time they were, honestly, I felt so uncomfortable. I literally can't even think straight. I'll need to actually go and do my food shop now, and if you made it this far and you're enjoying the content, at least subscribe. And if you are wanting some coaching, it'll be about a third of the price of this food shop. For a month of coaching, you can either join the waiting list or join, depending on when you're watching this, below. If we've got spaces, you can sign up, join the waiting list, or just get some stuff for free. There's no hidden costs, calls, or anything like that. It's literally just a case of join the program, get access to me, my community, my meals, my workouts, everything, all for less than the price of a family takeaway per month, or less than the price of a couple of meal deals per week, and probably about a third of the price of this food shop I'm about to do here. Any questions, let us know in the comments. Disagree with anything that I say, then let us know in the comments. It helps mainly for the algorithm than anything else, and I will see you in the next video.